Hi there. I wanted to talk briefly about generative AI, such as Google Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity or any other AI tool you might be using or not using at this point. This video is intended to discuss what generative AI is, what it's good at, and what it's not so good at. In a later video, I will talk about our AI use policies in this specific class. For your use, I have everything in one document. So I wanted to first talk about what AI tools like ChatGPT are. These tools, often called large language models or LLMs, work by responding to the information you give them. They're designed to sound human, but they don't actually think or understand the world the way people do. I've given you a little bit more about the rise of AI, so you can go ahead and take a look at that to see how it has been part of a larger technological revolution. I also want to point out that, as Professor Serwin notes, AI tools cannot think, only predict. That means that tools like ChatGPT are smart and limited. They can generate ideas, help you study or make writing a little bit easier, but they really don't truly know anything because the information they have comes from the internet. It doesn't come from items that are published behind a paywall or items that are in a library. They come from social media and articles written by people that may not be accurate or true. So it's really important to understand that while you might get some good support from AI, it's not all knowing. And I do also want to point out that AI technology, it's new, it's exciting, it's also a little bit intimidating for students and teachers alike. Like any tool, it takes time to learn how to use it wisely. And I like to think of it like a calculator. It's really helpful once you understand the math behind it. But if you don't get the math, if you don't get the equations that you're supposed to be inputting into the calculator or the order of operations, then it's not going to be too helpful. So let's talk about what AI tools are valuable for. They're often valuable for grammar and correctness. Sometimes they do make mistakes. They don't understand words or phrases in the way that I intend, so I still check myself for grammar and correctness. It's really helpful for organization and structure. For example, I like to take my writing and often put it in AI and ask it to organize it and structure it for a particular audience. It's really good at generating ideas or lists. It helps to elaborate, and it helps you when you're trying to consider counter argument or what somebody else's perception beyond you might be. It works best when you are clear and specific about the writing prompt, and even if you put something in, you can actually ask it to do other things to get more of the output that you're hoping for. And so one of the better AI tools that I try to encourage students to use when you're allowed to use it in my class is Perplexity, because it gives resources that you can actually see. They're linked in so that you can cross-reference what's there. Now let's take a moment to talk about what AI tools are ineffective at. They're ineffective at giving you accurate information all the time, because the information is a compilation of all the data that is particular to that particular AI tool, what it has access to on the web, including facts. It could have fake news and opinions, and sometimes it's really hard to determine what's correct unless a human actually performs the work and verifies the research. It's ineffective at using current knowledge because there's not a lot of information that's on the computer about that current knowledge, right? Although AI tools are starting to get better at that. One of the things that it's not great at is being equitable. The writing tends to favor stories and facts written by white males. So And it's not even just any white male, it's white males who use technology, who are paid lots of money to put information out on the web. It doesn't include everyone's voice here. It has a hard time citing real sources, like I mentioned before, and sometimes it hallucinates or makes up fake, unreal sources. And in fact, there are professionals who've gotten in trouble for using AI unethically and are now facing real trouble, and I have linked an example for you. Also, it's really hard to write with an authentic voice using AI. And that's what I'm interested in this class, is to hear you and your ideas, you grappling with your ideas and getting better at writing. The writing that AI does often seems generic, vague, and it lacks heart. And it often is not good at writing in depth, the writing that really is required at the collegiate level. And AI writing may sound good at first, but when you really look at it more closely, it often lacks analysis. So even if I use something from ChatGPT or another tool, I often am spending a lot of time fixing it for my purposes. All right, so this is what I really wanted to focus on for this brief video, and I will share another video about the policies in our class. Thank you very much.